everybody. We have some people joining. We'll let that count come in. I want to introduce Tiggz, formerly a skater with the High Rollers for how long? How many years did you skate?
I skated for 10, this would be my 10th year, but I played roller derby at Rose City for 5.
Awesome. Awesome. And here to do a Smokey Eye tutorial with us, which I kind of begged her to do. So super appreciated. You can see in the chat there is a link for booking consultations on a sliding scale, very generous sliding scale between 25 and 50 bucks. And then Venmo, if you would like to tip your consultant, which is a very normal thing to do for something like this. So please feel free to do that. Put any questions in the Q&A and I will make sure that I feed them to Tiggz when it's appropriate or hold them till the end. Take it away.
All right. Hello. I don't know who all is here, except I see Tai said hi. Hi, Tai. I'm Tiggz, as Kathryn said. I have been in and out of the beauty industry for about 15 years. My education in regards to makeup is I'm currently in cosmetology school. I'm getting my license for hair, but I'm a licensed esthetician in Oregon and in Washington. I've been a makeup artist for many years. I previously worked for MAC Cosmetics, and I have some like cool little credentials. I've got my work published in AP magazine. I have a music video that was on rotation on MTV2 for a band called Alkaline Trio, and Kat Von D was in the video. So I have some cool things under my belt, but when I was working at MAC, one of our most popular looks was a Smokey Eye. And so I feel really confident in teaching a Smokey Eye to folks. So that is what I'm gonna do today. So just to go over some products here, I have an eye primer. This is basically an eyeshadow base. It's a neutral color. You can kind of see that there. This eyeshadow bases are typically a water resistant product. So you can wear them for anywhere from 8 to 12 hours and your eyeshadow will not crease. So we're gonna use something like that. And then I have a black eyeshadow. This is from a brand called Melt Cosmetics. And this is, I call it a transition shade, but this is like a light brown matte shadow. This is also from Melt Cosmetics. It doesn't matter what you have, as long as it's black and brown, or a dark color and brown. And then I have a handful of brushes here. So I've got this, it's like a smudgy type brush. If you have that, cool. If not, no worries. And then I have like a fluffy blending crease brush. A brush like this is gonna be really important for this seminar. So have something like that. And if you don't have that, there's like this type of brush where it just isn't pointed at the end. It looks very similar. And then you could use something like this, also in the blending brush family. So anything similar to those will work. And then I have here, this is like a flat, this is a brush that is kind of awkward to explain. I got this from my makeup school, so I can't recommend where to get it, but it's my favorite brush ever, and I'm on the hunt for something that's comparable so I can refer people to get this brush. It's like a flat brush, but it kind of acts as like a fluffy brush. So just as long as you've got something that's flat and rounded, that will work. And then this is just another like a synthetic flat brush. This is what we're gonna apply our eye primer with. And then I've got these two little guys. If you have these, cool. If not, no worries. Fingers work just as well. And I'll show you how to do with both. Yeah, and then I have an angle brush. Angle brush is good for putting on eyeliner. And I think that's it. I've also got eyeliner. I don't actually own a black eyeliner. That's cool, right? So I have a black eyeliner. I don't know if it works, but if it doesn't work, I'm gonna just use this purple and show you how to trick the purple into working like a black liner. And I got my trusty Benefit Rollerball Mascara or Roller Lash Mascara. This is my favorite mascara. If anybody was curious about my favorite, that is it. And last but not least, I have a concealer here. Is the lighting okay for everyone to see what I'm doing? If you could just like, I don't know, say, yeah, lighting is cool in the chat or whatever, that'd be great.
Yeah, does everybody feel comfortable? Great.
Cool. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna take off my glasses here. I've already got my brows done. So before you would do your look, I would suggest doing your brows, just so that you kind of have like the frame of your face, the frame of your eyes, so to speak. So I'm just gonna go in here with my eye primer. The one that I'm using is by Revolution Pro, which I think is like Makeup Revolution. It's a really affordable brand. I think this primer is like $6 or $7. You can get it at Ulta. And I'm just gonna go in with this synthetic brush, this guy here. And when you go into your eye primer, you don't want to like go in and get glops of it. Otherwise, if you put too much on your eyes, it's gonna crease. So I'm just gonna go in here really lightly. You can kind of see here, I would say I'm like petting it. And so I have about that much on my brush. It's very minimal. And now I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna go from my lash line down to, or up to my eyebrow. And I'm just gonna make sure you guys can see me. Okay. And like so. I think I'll need to adjust my lighting, but I'll do that in a second. And just blending that in really well. And then I'm a dry skin gal, so sometimes I just like to get in here with my fingers, make sure everything is spread out. A suggestion that I have for you is when you're doing this, in the couple of people that I've worked with, it seems like people are really afraid to kind of pull at their eyes, which is a great thing to not do. You don't really want to pull at your eyes. But I'd say for the purposes of putting on makeup, like it's okay. So yeah, if you're pulling at your eye just a little bit to pull the skin taut, just think about kind of pulling out rather than down. Does that make sense? So I'm just gonna do that with the other eye. Same thing with my primer here. Go in. And again, I'm doing it all the way from my lash line to my eyebrow. You wanna make sure that you get it into your, the inner corner of your eye as well. Everyone following so far? Everyone making cool faces at themselves in the mirror?
Yeah, I was just saying I never wear eyeshadow because my skin is so oily, and so I get creasing like immediately within the first 30 minutes. So
yeah, totally, very common, especially for somebody like me. I have a hooded lid, which means that you can see that there's a little bit more of a fold here when I have my eye open. I have to wear eyeshadow primer, otherwise there's just no hope for me with my shadow. I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit more lighting here. I know we're losing sun here. Okay, my next step, I'm gonna take my fluffy blending brush. This is like a crease, fluffy, I don't know. It's a fluffy crease brush, it's fine. And I'm gonna take my brown shadow, my transition shade, and I'm gonna tap in here. I'm gonna get the tip of my brush pretty well covered in shadow. And then, so I'm gonna explain this in two ways. One, if you're a person who's got a lot of eye space, you don't have a hooded lid, you won't need to pay attention to this next part. But if you are a person who has a hooded lid, what I tend to do when I'm doing my eye makeup, and this is not to, it's not to take away from like my appearance or anything. It just makes it easier for me to do my makeup, and it makes it so that there's more of my look visible. Is what I do is I raise my crease a little bit. So the way that you find your crease is you can look in a mirror, and I kind of look down a little bit, and then I look for the spot right below my brow bone and where my eyeball is, and feel around. And if it's squishy, then that's your crease. But for me, because my hooded lid, I go up a little bit higher. So I'm just gonna do that for myself. So if you don't have a hooded lid, don't worry about that. Just go ahead and you're gonna put this in your crease. And so I go up a little bit higher. My crease, I fake it, it's here. And I'm just blending really, really softly back and forth like a windshield wiper. And again, don't feel uncomfortable with like pulling on your eye skin. Just be gentle about it. And so what we're doing here is we're defining our crease, and then we're also, this is the beginning of our smoky look. And if you can, this takes practice. I like to try to keep my eyes open while I'm doing this. That might not be feasible for everybody, but if you can't, I would recommend, instead of doing like a closed eye thing, to sort of start working on like looking down into your mirror. So instead of closing, because when you close your eye, you can kind of lose a little bit of perspective, just looking down into the mirror. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so that is my one side. I'm gonna go into the other and find that crease and just start blending out. Everything should have like a really nice, soft, diffused look.
And are you using the lightest of 3 colors you will use, or the lightest of 2 colors you will use?
For this look, we're just using 2 colors. So this is going to be the lighter brown of the 2 colors.
Gotcha.
The lighter brown, think about it as being like as close to your skin color as possible without it being the same color as your skin. Like if you look at like a nude palette these days, there's like a vast array of browns. I guess just go with like, for me, I go with like the lightest brown that's in the palette that's not white, or that doesn't show up as white on my skin, if that makes sense. Can this be done with a chubby stick or only powder? I don't see why you can't do it with a chubby stick. I don't know what product you're using, but I would say that if you're using a chubby stick, do one eye at a time, and use your brushes to blend out pretty quickly, because I think those have like usually they have a faster dry down time. Does that help? Clinique shadow stick. I am actually not really familiar with them, but I do know that most of the shadow sticks do have like a quick dry down. I don't see why you can't do it with that. Just something to consider for like a future use of this is you're gonna want the crease color that we're using to be a matte, and then your lid color can be whatever you want. Basically what I'm teaching you today is how I do any eyeshadow look. Every eyeshadow look that you'll see a picture of me this is what I'm doing. I just might modify it with different colors, or you know, shading different places, or just like making more dramatic, whatever. So once you know how to do the technique, you can use whatever you want. Okay, so I feel pretty good about this so far. Can you see on me? It's just totally super blended out. Really basic, nothing exciting. Okay. There we go. So now, this black is really pigmented, but I love to like dig into it and just get my brush really saturated.
Are you using the same brush at this point, or did you switch over? No,
sorry, I switched over. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So this is like that rounded flat brush.
Okay, I have something kind of like that, so I will try.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the same as this. No one else is going to have this brush. I swear, I need to find something that's equivalent, because it's literally just like my favorite lid brush. All right, so I'm going in here now with my black shadow. And when you do this, you're not going to want to go all the way to your crease. I'm going to go kind of just about to where my crease begins, if that makes sense. So maybe hold off a second and just watch how I do this before doing it on your own. So I am going to place my shadow this way, and I'm going to just carefully build up to my crease here. Nothing fancy right now, but you can see kind of where I'm at. And then I build the color up, because this color I know gets to be very, very black. It is my favorite black eyeshadow in the world. And I'm just building that color up to my crease, or the beginning of my crease, and then I start to sort of blend it in. So just a little bit of blending. It's okay if yours doesn't look like this right away. This is lots of practice. Rome was not built in a day, right?
And that's some serious pigment in that eyeshadow for sure.
Yeah.
Compared to what I'm using.
Yeah, Melt Cosmetics is probably one of my favorite eyeshadow companies out right now. You can get their products at Sephora. I actually went to makeup school with one of the girls who is the founder. Her name's Laura. And she is really incredible, and I just love, and she's a person of color. So it's like really great to see the success that her company is having. Yes, it is a melt stack. The colors I'm using are from the Lovesick stack. I don't know if they sell that anymore, but I think they're re-releasing everything soon. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in with, and not drop everything everywhere. Go in with my black again on my other eye and do the same thing. So my eyes are two different shapes, totally normal. Not everybody has a completely symmetrical face like Angelina Jolie does, and I think Samuel L. Jackson does, but nobody does otherwise. So don't worry about feeling like your eyeshadow might be crooked or off. You can go in and fix that later. So let's go in here.
Okay, I've already learned a lot because that is not how the pigmentation of my eyeshadow is looking at all, and I'm super jealous.
Don't be jealous. If anybody is curious about any of the names of the products, ping me on Instagram. I think most of you know where to find me on Instagram or on Facebook, and I'm happy to share something. I'm happy to share any of these product names with you. Any tips for applying shadow to a monolid? You know what? I'm actually really good at that, but because I don't have one, it's really kind of tough to explain. I would say rather than going all the way up, just find where your crease is and put your eyeshadow to that spot, if that makes sense. And if not, I'm happy to hop on a video chat with you one-on-one and talk about ways that you can achieve this look as well.
And does the quality of the shadow or the brush keep it from dusting everywhere below your lid? I would imagine yes, but also could you add a little water in that case?
So you can't see it, but I have shadow everywhere. I'm a mess, and I'm a messy makeup artist. So we'll go in and we'll clean up afterward. I think it's totally normal. I've never had a shadow that didn't have fallout underneath. One of the things you could do is, if you're a person who is worried about fallout, my first suggestion is I like to do my eyes before I do the rest of my face. That way I don't have to go back in and clean up my face and then try and make a puzzle fit back together that doesn't necessarily fit. Or you can dampen your brush using something like a fixing spray. This is my favorite. This is Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy Set. You can just spray your brush with a couple of spritzes of that and then dig in with your shadow, and that might help with the adhesion there.
So you don't even do your foundation at your bottom of your face before you get started on your eyes?
Nope, I do that last.
Oh, interesting.
It's just a time saver. A lot of bloggers do their foundation first, and that's cool. Some people are everyone's different. But for me, just because I know I'm such a messy artist, I just like to save myself the hassle of going back in and making corrections to my face. I think it's harder to correct foundation than it is to correct an eye look. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this fluffy crease brush once again. And if anyone's curious about what I'm using, this is the Morphe M412. I really like this brush. I also have a MAC 224. I have two MAC 224s because these were my holy grail for a long time. But the 224 doesn't have this like pointed tip that this Morphe brush does. So that's why I prefer the pointed tip over this. Okay, so I'm gonna go back with the Morphe brush with my transition shade. It's called Blur. And this time, instead of taking the tip of my brush, I'm gonna kind of take the side of my brush and tap it into the color. So like that. And then right where I brought that black up to, I'm gonna blend. So now what my objective is here is I wanna try and make this look as seamless as possible. And I'm using the side of my brush to do that. And so this is just kind of where I would recommend practicing a lot. Blending is a technique that takes some time to get down, and that's completely okay. And you might be really good at this right away, and you might not, and that's also okay. Just kind of like roller derby, you know, not everyone's good at it from the go, but you'll get there. So I'm gonna do that for my second eye, because I have two. Another thing I like to do, and I should have mentioned that, is I like to tap off my brush, so I don't have like a bunch of additional fallout on my face as well. And I'm just gonna go in where that black meets that brown and blend. And then I can already sort of see where I know I'm gonna want a little bit more black, and I like to bring my black shadow up as high as I can without looking like I got punched, or without looking, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but you can probably figure it out. I think most of the people here know me. Okay, so already I can see I'm a little bit uneven, and this is what I'm talking about when I say I've got two different shape eyes. So this comes up a little bit higher, and this doesn't. And this, I would say, I followed my natural eye shape here, whereas here I brought my crease up. So you can see the difference there.
Yep, totally.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back in with that flat brush and my black shadow and just try and even that out. I'm a Virgo and I'm a perfectionist, so I try not to obsess over like the small things. I'm gonna get it as close to perfect as I can. Kathryn, do we have some questions? I see a lot of chatting going on.
There's a lot of chatting. The question that's coming up in the chat is, was the concealer a cream or a powder?
I have a cream concealer.
Okay, I think what Addie might have meant was the eyeshadow prep.
Oh, it's a cream. It's a cream.
It's a cream. Okay.
Yeah, and it's different from a concealer. Eyeshadow primer will have a like a dry down, and so your eyeshadow can adhere to it. And then I'm just gonna show y'all this. I feel like I use some kind of corrective or drag tricks in my makeup. I learned how to do makeup from a drag queen, so that makes sense. But so this eye is the one I'm gonna bring my crease up a little bit. And I'm just gonna really lightly blend like that and start doing that windshield wiper back and forth and fix that. And there's no wrong way to do makeup. There's just techniques. So whatever way you're doing is probably fine. The technique I would suggest learning is blending, though. That will take you really far.
And I can really see the product quality with what you're using. I kind of always assumed that my technique was really off, but I can see that the way that the eyeshadow prep is helping that all blend together.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that's only $6. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love a cheapy makeup product if it's a good product. So I definitely recommend looking for like Makeup Revolution and Revolution Pro. They make really great dupes for higher end products. So happy to give a recommendation if you want one for anything. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in with brown. Again, I go back and forth a lot, and that's just typical of makeup. I'm gonna go back in with my brown, and I wanna really, like, I feel pretty confident with how the black looks, so I wanna like shore this up and complete my eye look at this point. So gonna go in here, side of my brush again, try to make this as seamless as possible. And the reason why I'm using this brown as my transition shade is because I like my smoky looks to look warm. And you'll probably notice that I've got like that nice little like halo of brown around the black, so it warms it up. And it's not just like a cold black eye. Okay.
Is there a tone you recommend for different eye shades, or is it really just your skin tone and your preferences? Like, I know that makeup sells itself as, oh, if you have green eyes, you should use this purple base or whatever.
So it really just, it's really a preference. So depending on what kind of look you want to go for, I'm using this particular brown today because it's really neutral. But like occasionally I've got like this huge stack of melt shadows here. I've used some darker browns to achieve the same look. Or like I've got like a reddish tone, you can use a red. And if we want, I'll show you what it looks like, just using like a little bit darker of a color. This is another dark color I would use. I'll show you what that looks like when we go to the rest of the eye after. Going in here, trying to get these blended together. And then another thing that you can do if you feel like you're just not getting enough dark here, like today I'm just having an off day and I don't feel like I like how my black is blending or not here. So sometimes I'll go in to the black with my fluffy brush, just a little bit, and then tap back into my brown. So like how that would look is this. Another thing about the Melt Shadows, this is a Melt Shadows, Melt Cosmetics infomercial now. I would tap into the black and then tap into the brown, just so I'm mixing those colors. What I was gonna say is these Melt Shadow stacks, which again, I don't know if they're even gonna be making them anymore, but they're magnetic, so they stick together, and this is really nice and convenient. Okay, so I put my shadow into, or my brush into the black here, and I'm just blending out. You gotta work with what you got. Sometimes your face doesn't wanna cooperate, sometimes your brain doesn't wanna cooperate, sometimes your hands don't wanna cooperate. Gotta make it work.
Yeah, I'm finding I can't get the real darkness out of my darkest purple eyeshadow, and so I'm throwing some eye pencil in there and trying to blend it, so we'll see what happens. Yeah,
absolutely. I really love using colored eye pencils as a shadow base to deepen a color. Some of you who follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, you saw my long ponytail. My wife called it the shell massage look the other day, where I wore red eyeshadow. I used like a hot pink liquid lipstick as my shadow base. So you can just get creative and use whatever. Okay, so at this point, I'm just gonna move on, because if I don't, I'm gonna make myself really mad. Like right here, like why? Why? Because of who I am as a person. I'm just gonna clean up underneath my eyes. So for this, I just use like micellar water and a cotton round. I prefer cotton round over most things, just because you can kind of have more control over cotton round. Q-tips are great, but I need more surface area, so cotton round. So I'm just gonna go under here and clean up. And what I don't like to do is I don't like to cut off my eye and make a hard angle here. I don't like how that looks, but if that's how you want to do it, go for it. Personally, that's not how I would do it. I just like to clean up and come around to just where my eye, the corner of my eye is, and sort of, I guess I kind of blend it out with my makeup remover, if that makes sense. Okay. So I feel pretty good about that now. Now I'm gonna teach you a trick. Concealer. Why do we have concealer? Because we are going to take the concealer and we're gonna take this nice little fluffy, small, dense guy, and we're gonna tap into this concealer. I'm just tapping in it. Cream concealer is gonna make all the difference in the world when it comes to what we're doing here, because liquid is just runnier, and I prefer a cream concealer for this particular thing. I prefer a liquid concealer if I'm gonna do a face. Yeah, so tapping into my cream concealer, and then I'm gonna tap off a little bit on the back of my hand because I don't want a whole ton. This color matches me exactly, just for the record. And then I'm gonna go right underneath my brow, and where that, try and get as close as I can, where that seam of my brown transition shade is, I'm gonna just lightly start putting concealer in. And then I'll even put it here because I feel like I went up a little too high. You can see that. Now I will take my crease brush once again, and I like to just clean it off before I do this because I used black. I don't want to go back all the way up with black, but I am going to put a little bit more of my transition shade on this brush. I'm going to go in here, and I want to do this while before my concealer dries down. So I'll do each eye before, or one eye before I move on to the other. And I'm just going to blend that concealer with that transition shade. And I'm using the side of my brush here. And that gives it like a nice, seamless, blended, blown out look.
And I ran out of clean brushes to go back with a light color because I seem to use all my brushes whenever I have them out, just like when I paint. But I just did that with my pinky, and I'm actually pretty proud of it.
Yeah, I love using my fingers. When we get to the bottom of the eye, you'll see I'll use my fingers a lot. But one of the things I like to do here, oh, my wife says, "Hi, wife, you're pretty." Hello, bees, you're pretty too. I can hear her laughing from the other room. I just keep a washcloth with me and just gently brush the color off. I mean, you want to clean your brushes every so often. I'm really bad at that. Don't tell anybody.
Do you clean it with dish soap like I do? I bet you don't.
No, dish soap, no. I would recommend doing it with baby shampoo.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah. And then when you do that, just make sure that you squeeze it out upside down this way so you can get all the moisture out. If you put it this way, it'll break down the glue in the metal part. Okay, so I'm going to just move on to my other eye. Again, dabbing in here with the teeny tiny brush. Dab in here, back of my hand, and right at that seam, between the seam and my eyebrow. And again, if this is not looking great to your standards, don't worry. Practice, 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 practice. I've been doing this for a really long time. And you just have to practice. Again, going in with that brown and my fluffy crease brush. And blend those two guys together. For anyone who knows Bob, he's outside the door, very upset that he can't come in. Okay. Ooh. I feel pretty good about that. So that is how that should look. Any questions so far?
I think we have more brush questions.
I got brush answers.
Someone says they washed theirs for the first time in ages today and dried them with a hair dryer on cold. Is that necessary?
Don't dry your brushes with a hair dryer. Another thing is with the brushes that you likely have, either they're synthetic or they're made with animal hair. If they're synthetic and you use a blow dryer on them, it can ruin the bristles. Synthetic brushes can be really finicky. This is what a brush with synthetic bristles will look like after years and years of you having it, if you take really good care of it. So just next time you wash your brushes, just lay them out to dry flat and make sure that you're pushing the bristles together so that they're not bunched up and don't have anywhere to drain the water. I like to put a bunch of paper towels down. And
when you are saying to use baby shampoo, what would Dr. Bronner's be possible too, or is that too strong?
I think you could use Dr. Bronner's. I don't see why not. When you're doing that, a way that I would suggest to do that, so say this is a brush I'm going to wash. I would wet it, make sure that it gets all nice and wet. Then I would put a little bit of soap in my hand, swirl it around in the soap, and then you'll see all that crap come out of your brushes. You'll be like, oh my God, I didn't know that was there. That freaks me out. Yeah, totally. It's disgusting. So once your brush is big and sudsy, just kind of wring it out like that. Never putting it upright. You want to wring it out and then rinse it. You're going to do this a whole bunch of times, and just make sure that the water runs clear and it's not soapy. Then wring it out, lay it flat on the counter. This is like, I do like a big wash to my brushes every like month or so. But in between you can use, like I generally will use like MAC brush cleanser. I think I'm out of it right now, but it comes in a pink bottle. That's my favorite. And I've been using it for years. And so that's the one that I would recommend. Okay, this is the fun part. So I am not super great at doing a winged liner. It's sort of my nemesis, and I didn't wear it for a long time, but just recently I have been kind of experimenting with how to do a winged liner. And so I figured I could just show you how I would do this with a pencil. What happened? Yep. Yeah, someone else said that they use MAC brush cleanser. Yeah, it's definitely great. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to do winged liner. I'm sure if you find somebody on YouTube, they'll show you how to do it way better than I will, but this is like my version. And I'm gonna probably go in and clean up a whole bunch of times. And that's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna attempt to use this black Urban Decay 24/7 Perversion pencil. And what I will do here is I am going to, the reason why I'm gonna do this with pencil before I do a liquid, and I don't have a liquid, but why I would recommend doing it with pencil, especially if you're new to doing a wing, is because wing liner is hard. And if you're gonna do it with a pencil, it's easier for you to go back and fix your mistakes with a pencil rather than with a liquid. So I will start at my water line, or my lash line, sorry, at the top. And just kind of, I don't know if you can see because it's a black pencil and black eyeshadow, but I'm doing my best. Drags a little bit, so that's okay. And then, so for me, the trick is to, I don't like to go to all the way to the corner of my eye. Like most people who don't have like a hooded lid will come out at the corner. I stop short before the corner and I start to go up. I don't know if you can see that here. Yeah, you see it?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, and then from here, I just bring that back in. This pencil's not working for me.
So you're going a little further than the edge of your eyebrow.
I don't want to, but I find that if I go a little bit further out, I can kind of fake it into the shape that I want it to be.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So I'm sort of just carving out this shape that I think I want. And this eyeliner sucks, so I'm so sorry if it's hard for you to see. Like I said, I'm working with what I got. I'm gonna take my Q-tip and my micellar water and just fool it into the shape I want it to be in. And the good thing about doing this with pencil is that, and you can kind of see how that looks there. The cool thing about doing this with pencil is that if you, for some reason, did do just like this really thick, ridiculous liner on your lid, that's okay. You can always take that flat brush that you put your black eyeshadow on with and cover it back up. Or if you were wearing like pink eyeshadow, for example, and you decided that the liner that you did was too thick, you can take like an angle brush and that pink eyeshadow you're wearing and just go back in and fix it.
That's a great tip because I've only ever seen someone who's very, very good at doing winged liner just do it very, very quickly and thought, okay, yeah, that's not for me. I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I'm just not that person, and I never have been. And I've had like multiple people show me. I've watched multiple tutorials. Like, yeah, when I was working at MAC, there was this one senior artist, and she had this really incredible. She was just like, she could just quickly do it with boot black, which is like the old school, like you know, liquid liner with the top, and like just perfect. And I watched her do it a million times and nothing, never. So I just sort of gave up. But I feel like this is the way that works best for me, and probably will work for other folks who have a hooded lid. There's not a whole lot of tutorials out there that are like really helpful for hooded lid that I have found. And if you have one, please send it my way. I would love to watch. And so now I'm just gonna do the other side as best as I can with this dried out eyeliner. One side is always gonna be harder to do than the other. That is natural. I have my computer sitting on top of a dog food box, and all I can smell right now is dog food.
Yeah, I was teaching kids art class for my son's class, and I had my computer on top of a box of empty wine bottles to be at the right level, just to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and just bring that back, connect the two. And then if you're good with, if you have a liquid liner, like it's totally worth it to go over this when you get your good shape. So that is that side. I always do a better job on my left side than I do my right side. I don't know why. But go back in.
Oh, that was so much easier for me to follow since I had the pencil down first.
Good. That's what I'm here for. I like ease. Take it out a little bit further. And then just clean this up. I want it to be nice and crisp. I don't want it to have like that edge. So yeah. Looks pretty even to me. What I might do in this situation is take my angle brush and my black shadow and just go in here, darken that up a bit if I want to. You can smoke it out if you want to. The world is your oyster. That's just what I did there. Same thing on the other side. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. And so if y'all are ready to move on, I would love to.
Let's do it.
Okay. So I don't think I'm gonna try to use this in my waterline. Throw it over my shoulder. And if you have your black eyeliner and it works, use that. I'm just gonna take my angle brush and my black shadow, and I'm gonna go in my waterline with this. And so waterline can be tricky for lots of folks. I would recommend doing this before putting in contacts if you're a contact wearer. If you're a person who has really sensitive eyes, looking in the opposite direction of where your, and I'll show you what I mean in a second, of where your brush is usually really helpful. This is not something you'll want to close your eyes for. So if you can look down, very helpful. And so I'm just going on the inside of my waterline here. And what I mean by looking in the opposite direction is you can still kind of see where you're going, but I'm looking this way because I'm in the inside corner of my eye. It's also helpful to put on eyelashes by doing this. That way it doesn't feel like you've got a brush coming right at your eyeball. So inside or outside corner, I look to the in, and it's okay if it gets a little bit underneath the eye because we're going to get underneath the eye ourselves right now in a moment. So it looks like this. Same thing for the other eye. My wife is on the phone speaking in Russian, if you're wondering what that sound is in the background.
Can totally hear that.
Okay. So this is what it should look like after the waterline. If you're using a powder, just blink a few times, it'll go away. But that's why it's important to do this before you put contacts in if you can. Okay, so then I would do this if I had pencil liner with pencil, but I'm just gonna do it with shadow You know what? I'll just do, I have this purple. So just pretend like this purple is black. So my pencil liner, I'm gonna take it right underneath my lash line. So right underneath my eyelashes. Try to get in here so you can see a little bit better. So I'm right underneath my eyelashes here. And I just go back and forth a few times.
On the inside of your eye, you're connecting the liner. You're going all the way around your little tear duct, okay?
Yep. Yeah. And then once I do that, this is a quick drying liner. So I like to work quickly. I'm just gonna take my ring finger and I look up, kind of pull my eye skin down and I blend. Very smudgy. So that's what that looks like. Gonna do the same thing on the other side. And then blend out. So I like to make my my bottom color come down pretty far. But when it comes to wearing like purples or blues, if you're a person who's got a lot of under eye darkness, that might not be comfortable for you. Totally fine. You don't have to come down really far. This, the bottom of the eye is really just up to you, how far down you want to come. I'm gonna take my black shadow now, my angle brush, and I'm gonna go back over what I just smudged out with black, since I'm pretending it's black. And then my ring finger, and I'm just gonna smudge that. This is a step that I would actually do after putting on my face makeup, like the rest of my face. You'll get less fallout on the bottom of your eye than you would if you were doing this, doing the top. So I feel like it's okay for you to do this after you put the rest of your face on. Second eye, same thing. And smudge. This is the part where I end up looking like a trash panda, or why I almost never do anything in the under eye area. I love the look on other people though. Well, okay, I definitely understand that sentiment. However, it's not just this. I think it looks a little bit tighter and cleaner if you blend out with that transition shade that we were using in our crease. So once you get blended out here, and you're supposed to kind of look a little bit like a trash panda here, just try wearing it around the house while you're in quarantine or lockdown or whatever you're doing and calling it right now. I keep calling it quarantine. I don't know why. Wear it around and see how comfortable you feel. And if you don't, that's not a big deal. Makeup is an expression. If you don't feel comfortable doing something, you don't have to do it. But I like
think that's great advice. I mean, I was never taught anything about makeup, and I'm not, when I put a lot on or even put a lot of time into it, I feel like, oh, I'm doing too much, I'm being too much. But yeah, getting comfortable in the house is a great tip.
Yeah. I mean, this is not my real hair, but I've been wearing like fake hair because I just love hair and I love wigs and I love hairstyling and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a great time to try things that I wouldn't normally feel comfortable wearing. Like, I don't know, a dress or something. I'm not a dress wearer, but I don't know, wouldn't it be cool to just like walk around in one? Sure. Same thing with makeup. And that's why I have lots of folks trying new skincare right now, because if they have a reaction, they have time to clear it up before they have to see anybody. Okay, so to finish this up here, we're gonna go back with our transition shade, and our pointy blendy brush. And I'm putting my color on the tip here because we're really just going to take that tip at that seam and do a quick little bit of blending. This warms it up so you don't necessarily look like a trash panda. Helps to put the look together. So it looks like that. Once you get this down, it can take you 20 minutes to do the smoky eye. It's really, really simple to do, and it always looks really nice. And you can do it with any colors you have, any colors you want. I like to smack like big fake lashes on with this. You can wear it with any lip color. It's just a really good classic look to have in your arsenal, and it's one of my favorites, and that's why I always go back to it. So yeah, so this is what the finished look looks like. And I'm just gonna put on a little bit of mascara here. I don't remember if I told you why I like Roller Lash so much, but I like Roller Lash because it's got one of these little like hedgehog brushes where it's like little and pokey. So I get all my lashes separated. And so when I put my mascara on, I just look down. I don't close my eyes. I don't, somebody I did a consult with told me that I don't make mascara face. That's also years of practice. And if you want to know how to put lashes on, I have a quickie little tutorial on my Instagram, just a few posts back. I find it's fairly simple to do once you measure the lash to your eye shape. And it also helps if you use tweezers to place the lash once your glue starts to get tacky. The pro tip for you. And then just some mascara on the bottom. The good thing about doing mascara on the bottom with a black smoky eye is if you happen to get mascara on your face, you won't see it. Also, another fun thing about using a colored pencil underneath a black smoky eye is it just kind of like gives you a little bit of different dimension. Like I can see, I don't know how well it's translating here, but I can see that purple little bit underneath. So yeah, that is how I do my smoky eye.
That is beautiful.
Thank you.
And I have never been so successful myself, so I'm
so excited.
Very excited about it. I'm gonna take some of those selfies with my arm all the way out, the way the 30-somethings do, you know.
Yeah, you got to get like the good angle. I'm the queen of angles.
Tuck the chin. Yeah, I'm gonna do it all. You're gonna see it. It's gonna be all over Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. If any of you did this look and want to share with me, please tag me. This is so much fun. Are there any questions?
Yeah, does anyone else have questions? I know you guys all, as usual, did a great job of not following directions and instead putting the questions in the chat rather than the Q&A. So I feel like we got to all the questions. But who else has questions? I have endless product questions, but I think that is why I'm going to book a consultation with Tiggz.
Yeah, I would love that.
Tech check comes in.
Yeah, I do consultations. So I do skincare consults and I do makeup lessons. Skincare consult usually consists of an hour booked out. It doesn't always take an hour, it depends. But in that hour, we talk about your current habits. If you have none, totally fine. We talk about your current skin, your skincare goals, and then I will make some product recommendations for you. And then as far as a lesson goes, if there's like a palette you want to try that you bought because it looked really cool, but you don't know what to do with it, or if you want to learn how to contour or something like that, that's something that I can help with. And then when I do skincare consults, I send you a huge email with recommendations and everything. So you don't have to take all these notes. It's quite helpful and cathartic for me. I love to take a note and I put links in it and everything. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think everybody had a great time. Blitz got briefly disconnected. but do you put mascara before applying lashes?
I didn't cover that. Thank you for asking. I do put mascara on before I apply lashes. And then when I apply lashes, I take a clean spoolie and then I put my finger into the lash. So I kind of put my finger, I rest it on the back of my eyelid to pull my eyelid up. And then I brush the lashes up into my lashes once the glue is dry. And then that way it feels just way more comfortable. Oh, I'm so here for all the selfies.
This looks so good, but just by how many times I missed. Yeah, thank you, Tiggz. This was great.
I am super happy. If there's anything else any of y'all want to see, I have time right now, and I would be happy to share my time with you. And yeah, feel free to hit me up on Instagram, IDK, my BFF Tiggz. If you have any questions about product or you have a question about today's seminar or anything, I'd love to talk.
Yeah, I can't believe what I pulled off with one brush and a Q-tip. So
I can't wait to see. Please take pictures.
Okay, I totally will. You guys have a great night, and everybody feel pretty confident about how to get in touch with Tiggz. It's at the beginning of the chat here. I'm just going to paste it here again at the bottom. This is how you can book an appointment. And again, Venmo is always good if you want to tip your consultant. That is what you do.
I would love tips. They're not required, but they are appreciated. I haven't had a paycheck since March 15th, and that sucks. So I'm waiting on unemployment. I know a lot of other people are in that situation, but if you learned something today, tips are greatly appreciated, even if it's like $3. I love $3. $3 can buy me an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, that's an ice cream sandwich, totally.
All right, friends. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Bye.
Bye. Good to see everybody.